Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk About It. This is Susan Johnson, and my co-host is off watching a little softball game with our grandchild. She's the pitcher for East Hartford High, and she is amazing. I've seen her out there with that pitching arm, and oh my goodness, she can really throw a strike. But today we have fabulous guests, and we have really interesting information to talk about, all pretty much having to do a lot with the town of Windham. But first, we're going to start off with our introductions, and we have with us today the town manager of Windham. Welcome to the show, Rob Zarnetske.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you. And we have Councilwoman Dawn Niles, and also the Chair of Sustainability.
Hi, nice to be back.
It's great. But before we go any further, I want to talk about a couple of things. And that is, we have a protest going on down by the Frog Bridge. And I told them they got to blast WILI. Let's talk about it while they do the protest, because I can never make it to it. And then the other thing that we have coming up tomorrow is the Autism Awareness Program that our police and I guess we have some people in the town hall have been working really hard on that. Want to tell them?
Samara Capio has been spearheading this.
Excellent.
She has. It's been a passion of hers. It's an awesome program. It's really a volunteer autism awareness and response program. The whole idea is to make sure that the folks who are in the community have the training and the ability to respond to people with autism when they encounter them. It's really a wonderful program because it gives people information to improve interactions.
It's really very important to be able to recognize these differences in people. And one of the things I've been working on, not to take away from the great thing that's going to happen tomorrow with autism awareness and making sure our police department is really focused on these issues. But we've been working, and I've been appointed to the Select Committee on Special Education, which includes our students with autism, and making sure that all of our students, no matter what their differences are in learning, actually get the kind of support they need in the school systems, and that the state helps to pay for it, which is something that we've been fussing and moaning about for some time now, and it's bipartisan. Both sides of the aisle want the money for the students because it's quite a different kind of a system that we have in Connecticut, and we need to make sure we step up and take care of the kids.
Yep. You know that if it's bipartisan and everybody's in support of it, we're onto something here.
Yeah, exactly.
I also want to point out that it's just more than the police department. She's actually involving the fire departments as well and getting them trained. I know Willimantic's been trained, and we're still working on getting the 3 Windhams trained as well.
That's wonderful. And, I understand in part that this is something that the subcommittee that oversees the police and fire have been working on as well. Some of the support for this has come from the taxing district's oversight of the police and fire departments.
So we should actually mention when and where it is.
Yes.
Well, here we go. Excellent point. Good point.
The event is tomorrow afternoon from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and it will be at the Windham Community Center here in Jilson Square.
Mm-hmm. And anybody can attend?
Anybody can attend. It's
Excellent.
Open to everybody.
It's open to everybody, and I'll be attending. And, I'm very thrilled that they're doing this, and they gave me an invitation to say hi. So, very good.
There you go.
Very, very good. So then, we might as well, while we're talking about events, why don't we talk a little bit about when people can get to meet our new town manager, Rob Zarnetske.
Well, let's start with where again. It's going to be the community center. The community center at Jilson Square again. It'll be May 8th at 6 o'clock. Come on out. I'm happy to meet you. So bring your questions, bring your concerns, bring your suggestions. It's all welcome. I'm acclimating myself to the town, and the more input I get from the community, the better.
Excellent. Okay, so we'll go into a little bit more about your history, but first, I think we should kind of have a little bit of a celebration for the $426,000 that we were
Yes.
able to get to address our waste crisis and making sure that this area of the state does organic waste recycling. And I have to thank your hard work, Councilwoman Niles and Chairwoman Niles, who Mrs. Sustainability. And your great work. And I've been piping in from time to time, and also working with the Southeastern Connecticut Council of Governments that worked with us, which is how we're supposed to be working together and as a region. Tell us some more.
Exactly. Well, I have to be honest with you. We did this as a long shot. I saw the grant that was offered by DEEP. We put it in. Jordan connected with CCOG, the Southeast Council of Governments, and they were willing to come on board. CLIC has also been involved as part of this, as well as the Eastern Connecticut Sustainable program that's located there. And so we all kind of gave him some information, and he knew where we wanted to go, and we've been slowly trudging, little steps here, and there, and I'll talk about that after. But we wanted to see, let's just go for the whole thing so we can get from A to Z right away, right? And we got the grant.
I was so proud because you don't know, I go campaigning every 2 years and people say, when are we going to do the organic waste? When are we going to be able to get everybody to get that organic waste out of the waste stream? And it will reduce our tipping fees, which are going to go up because once we have to renegotiate that, because everybody's going to be competing to get into our trash energy plant in Lisbon, and it's going to be quite expensive. So if we can get the waste, the organic waste out, and start to utilize it for agricultural purposes in this area, what a great thing. And that's one of the reasons CLIC was so happy about it, because they want to be able to start utilizing real organic waste because it's much better than the processed chemical stuff.
So, I'm sorry, Rob.
This is a great win. I mean, you both deserve extraordinary credit for this. This is just a huge win because it is about money. It's about the environment. It's about making both of these things better in a really important way. We don't think about it. The food waste that goes into the trash stream weighs something, and trash is paid for throughout the process of getting rid of it by weight. So if you can take the organic waste out of that waste stream, you reduce the cost to the municipality significantly. And this is that. And it's also just good for the environment because we'll be producing a usable product through this process.
I actually, because part of the sustainable, we wanted to be able to show the council that how much you could actually reduce. So for 1 month, I weighed everything we put in this composter machine as we did it ourselves, and I actually, between my husband and myself, and some Sundays are family day, there was over 100 pounds of food waste that we did, and it got down to like less than 3 pounds in baggies afterwards, just to because I kept it. And Matt Vertife, our whatever we call him now, code enforcement person, actually told me that if 10% of our residents just did what we did, that's almost a $40,000 savings a year in tipping fees.
That's huge, and I just think if everybody starts to do it. Now tell us a little bit about how you started by going to the universities and the schools and that.
Well, food waste has actually been a topic that we've been talking about for quite a while. I think it's almost 6 years. To be quite honest, I couldn't seem to get past our public works department. He didn't really see where it would work out. He was worried about rodents and everything else going on. Eventually, though, Stanford had a workshop on it, and he went to this and came back and said, oh my goodness, we've got all these possible ideas, and it was all of a sudden a go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let me just say one little thing about that, because one of the things when I would go to our legislative, as you know from being at the Capitol, Don, and I'm sure Rob knows as well, that we have the legislative research group, and about organic waste and what can we do. Well, there's no way to make sure that the things that contaminate the organic waste will be removed so that we can use it for agriculture. This is about 4 to 6 years ago that I started working on trying to figure out how I could get a law in here that would help us with it. And so those were some of the things. Then all of a sudden I go to the CCOG thing last fall. I think it was September. And they had all this, we could do this now, we don't have to worry about the contamination.
Right.
They had made all of these things that are really making it possible for us to be able to do this organic waste recycling. So
Well,
tell us more about
actually, once we
your work.
actually put it through the machinery that we're going to
Yes,
have,
yep.
in 3 to 4 weeks it's usable.
That's fabulous.
Okay, so what the grant gave us, it's awesome because there's no way we could have done any of this without it. We are getting a in vessel 40 foot. 40 foot, right?
Yep.
40 foot in vessel machine that you put the food waste into, and it just rotates it and makes it into compost, right? We received money for 40 tipper carts, which are basically what you see the garbage trucks out containers. But we also received a truck with a lift to go and pick those up ourselves, so we're not spending more money at our waste thing. Anything that we have to do site-wise is paid for out of this grant. We are also given collection containers for inside. So we're starting small. We're starting at the middle school. This is where we actually were starting before we got the grant. Come this next school year, because we really didn't know what to expect, and we still don't. We have to figure out all the logistics and everything else. But Tracy, who was the superintendent at the time, she was really gung-ho on this. And so a group of us met, and we decided the middle school made the most sense. We were actually first going to rotate it to all the elementary schools. Too much trouble. So this way we're going to have students, train the students, and it's going to be part of their curriculum and everything else about why they're doing it, how it's done, and so on. And so that will start in the new school year. And so we'll figure out from there basically what we need to do the other schools, but also in the meantime how we get them into areas throughout the town, because we have to really figure out how this is all going to work together, because we do have them to put throughout the town. So that will involve community discussions.
We need to have some of those discussions. Having a few community coffees about this and so many other issues is going to be a great thing. And I think, but starting off with this great thing that we've been able to accomplish, the beginning of doing the organic waste, and the sooner we get it done, the cheaper it's going to be to dispose of the rest of our costs. And it's going to reduce your taxes, everybody. So let's get with it.
Well, the nice part is the
right.
school students will be part of the community discussion, so that they
and that's another
can
thing.
actually show what they've done and everything else. So that's the important part. And it's a pilot program.
Right.
So they're actually utilizing us for this portion of the state to show how it can be done and work out whatever kinks there are that we can. I mean, a lot of people were wondering, what's the cost and everything else. They've paid for everything. So it's our Public Works Department that is actually going to be doing this. We're not hiring anybody else. And we talked about not charging for the compost, because we don't currently charge for the leaf compost. It'll be mixed in with that, making it even more organic. And it'll still be free for people to come and get.
And I think we're going to have a lot of support from, as you said, the students, but also from CLIC, because CLIC really wants to be able to provide more organic fertilizer for our local agricultural people. And it's going to be a great opportunity for them to be able to take advantage of this this great resource. And Click has been very big. All the people in Click, Phoebe Godfrey, who started Click, was very, very focused on this.
Well, she actually just joined our sustainable group, right, Susan?
Very good. Yeah. Yes, we're very thrilled that she's there, because she has been a great innovator for years and years. We wouldn't have Click without Phoebe Godfrey, and she, of course, teaches. She's a professor at UConn. She teaches there agricultural, organics, all kinds of great things. She's got a good book on all those things, and we have great people at Click now. And another person who is on the board at Click is Hedley Freak, and he's helping with us.
He's actually the longest member there now, except for me.
Very good.
It's easy to see how this grant won. I mean, this application has just got everything. It's got, a curriculum component for kids in the schools. It's got cost savings. It's got the capacity to demonstrate to the entire region how you can do community level composting. This is just a great project. I'm looking forward to seeing the equipment on site. Those purchases still need to be made, but I'm looking forward to seeing this one go.
Absolutely. And I do want to are we good with this? Because we're going to make a new transition into the new things. First of all, we want to introduce our new town manager, and I'm just very pleased with your background. I have to tell a little story.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to tell a story on you. So one of the things I've been working on with the Sustainable Group is I've been working on trying to get geothermal capacity here. And I had a bill. I put a bill into the legislature this year to try and make sure that I finally take advantage of the fact that we're on an aquifer here, but also that we can take advantage of the fact that Eastern Connecticut State University does geothermal. Our federally qualified health center Generations has geothermal. Horizons does geothermal. And so the geothermal is taking advantage of what we have right here, what we're sitting on, and utilizing it for energy purposes. It's sustainable, and it doesn't have any emissions. So there was that. So I was presenting that to you, remember?
I do.
And so as I'm walking out, I see our now town manager, who I was totally unaware he was going to be our town manager.
I was unaware of it too.
And you give me your card and say, contact me because I have more information about different ways to do geothermal. Yeah. And so I was and then I find out you were hired. And I said, I had no idea. So tell us. Tell us first about your background, but that was a great thing.
I've got a long and storied history, but I most recently was working with a group known as the Sewer Thermal Energy Network, which is a Connecticut nonprofit corporation that I helped set up a couple of years ago, and its core is really a couple of engineers, an engineer out of New Zealand and an engineer out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, who are focused on bringing sewer thermal energy to the United States. It's a technology or a set of technologies that have been widely adopted in Europe and in New Zealand and Australia, which basically is the same concept, but instead of tapping your well or dropping a well into the groundwater, which is warm, it tends to be about 50 some odd degrees Fahrenheit, it's using the water running through the drainage pipes, which tends to be water because we're all using the sewers for, getting rid of our dishwater, getting rid of our washing machines and showers. All of that raises the temperature in the sewers to quite a substantial 70, 75 degrees. Oh. So you can really get a lot of energy out of the wastewater stream. And the technologies are pretty good. They're excellent. They separate the contaminated water from the clean water that you're going to be using, but we have a number of applications here in Willimantic that would be ideal. We're waiting to hire a new superintendent of the wastewater facility down here on Route 66, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. And that is our opportunity for a conversation about
Yes.
how to tap into that. But we can heat, for example, the community swimming pool is one of the big energy hogs. But if we
Yes.
can figure out how to tap into the warmth that is in the pipe right next to the building, we may be able to reduce our energy costs there. So I'm a big fan of thermal energy. When I was at USGSA as the regional administrator up at GSA in Boston,
Say what USGSA is.
it's the U.S. General Services Administration. They're the building managers and contracting authority for the federal government. And I worked as the regional administrator up there in Boston for 6 or 7 years. We did a lot of geothermal. They were really popular projects. And we actually used waste heat off of solar panels as another really interesting way to generate energy. People, when we think about energy, we tend to think about gasoline and fuels and things you burn, but there's a lot of energy in the ground. There's a lot of energy in the wastewater stream. There's a lot of energy that comes off of solar panels. Waste heat is really an untapped resource, and we really should pay more attention to it.
We really should, and this is an excellent thing. And I'm hoping that we can take your amazing knowledge and bring it to the Capitol, have a forum of some sort on, because because one of the things that I find, and we've talked about this, Dawn, is that when I mention geothermal, I get a look like I might have 1,000 heads.
Exactly. Even in our sustainable group.
Yes.
It's a really hard sell to a lot of people because it's not something they're even considering.
Right. It's just not. It's just out there. But I was at Eastern Connecticut State University with our mayor Tom DeVivo about a month and a half ago or so, and I said, "What should we do about energy?" I said, "Well," I said, we should do what we have right here, because Eastern Connecticut State University has done that with their Sustainable Institute, and they have utilized geothermal energy right there. They have utilized fuel cells right there. And so that's the other thing I get looked at, like fuel cells. But this isn't a rocket ship we're doing. But anyway, if they even know it was a rocket ship powered thing to power rocket ships rather. But it is something that we're going to continue this conversation. But right now we got to get back to our sponsors who help pay for this show. And this is Susan Johnson. I'm here with Dawn Niles, who is a councilwoman and sustainable chair, and our town manager, Rob Zarnetske. And we will be right back after these messages. Welcome back, everyone. This is Susan Johnson. I'm here with our wonderful guest today, Dawn Niles, who is a council person and Mrs. Sustainability, helping us out with all these projects that we're going to be saving money on, and our new town manager, Rob Zarnetske, and he's been doing great things all over the country, and he really has a great understanding of how to make our town have much more sustainable access to energy with respect to geothermal, and amazing that he would be coming to our town at this time when we are on the verge of trying to do geothermal here in town.
I just got lucky.
We got lucky.
I think we got lucky. Yeah, Susan, I said, I got to tell you my story about Rob. Okay, so he's one of the applicants. Yeah. He sent an 84-page why we should hire him. I actually read this thing twice. I can't believe I put myself through it. But he also did a fake podcast on it, and it was amazing. I might not have agreed with everything he had to say, but it was amazing. Mm-hmm. So I have to be real honest, Rob. I'm saying to myself, there's got to be something wrong with him. And I actually went in. I'm sorry. I went into that to the when we're meeting all of you, and I'm like, there has to be, and there wasn't. Yeah. All right. You were everything that I thought I was reading, and I'm actually just really sorry that we had to come in during budget season, and we've done to you what we've actually done, which is ask you to reduce the staff so we could reduce our taxes. So, but you've done an amazing job with that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a tough season. It's been a tough tax season, and we actually should plug that. The budget referendum date has been set. The referendum date will be May 20th. from 6 a.m., of course, to 8 o'clock at night. The budget that's been proposed by the town council and, well, the combined budgets, if you will, for the town council, the Willimantic Taxing District, and the schools, actually this year, it's a good news story. The total increase in taxes for the typical property owner in both Wyndham and Willimantic is under $100. We've kept the tax increase as low as humanly possible. I will say you're right. It's been tough on our staff. We did have to eliminate a small number of personnel, but it's been stressful, and that has not gone unnoticed by me or anyone else who's paying close attention. We have an amazing staff in Wyndham Town Hall, and I really can't tell you how much I appreciate their soldiering through a very rapid and difficult budget season. This has been
it's
tough.
been really bad. I mean, think about it. We actually told him he had to come in at last year's dollar figure, not 0%, but last year's dollar figure.
Yeah.
And that meant layoffs. We knew that. Not layoffs, but elimination.
On the town side, we actually came in with a reduction in the mill rate. We're about a half a percent of a mil, or half a mil off of last year's expenditure. It's
so
again,
the rest of it is basically between the Willimantic Taxing District, which will affect just the Willimantic residents. And
although
then
even the
Board of
taxing
Ed.
district came in with a lower tax bill this year as well.
Did they?
Yeah, it's really the Board of Education's program really was, there was a substantial change in the structure of that program because they had been reliant on federal funds, and those funds aren't available in the same way that they were. But that's really the one challenging place for us here. Well, the whole thing is challenging. We have a lot of work to do, but we're very proud of the staff for getting us to a number that passes on some real needed tax relief for folks here in town.
Well, you've done great work, and we also try to bring in more resources to this town. Senator Flexer and I both work really hard to make sure our schools are fully funded, to make sure payment in lieu of taxes is coming in the proper way, that the car tax grant is being processed properly. But in terms of how we figure out what the value of a car is, the legislature keeps trying to figure a way to stop taxing the cars without having the money transferred to all the businesses and property owners. And I don't think that they've quite understood the value of the that we need to have a good area of property that can be taxed, whether it's business and local and cars, so that we are able to pay for our police, pay for our fire, pay for our schools, pay for the people that do all the amazing work in the town hall to make sure everything's in order with respect to how the buildings look, how we do our grants for the roads and bridges, and making sure that we have good, nice parks and things are taken care of. So it's a lot of work taking care of the towns, but it's also a lot of work to make sure that we try and get the money to the people in the towns, because property tax base is a big deal. And to try and take away any property tax base is always something that the wealthy towns don't fully understand, that what their property tax base does for them. And the towns like ours, that we lose about 50% of our value in Wyndham to the state of Connecticut because they have tax exemptions for services that are being provided to the whole state or to the region that other towns don't do. So I have to throw that in there because we do more here in Wyndham than most towns do in our region for people all over the state.
I wanted to just say, you mentioned the parks and stuff. We actually spent our ARPA dollars very, very wisely in this town. We spent a lot of it on our parks. We went through, when we fixed things that needed to be fixed, we upgraded other items. You're still going to see some of that is still being done, although it is not in your town budget. It was part of the opera money. But we actually used town staff to help offset some of that cost as well. So the parks are starting to get brand new lights. They've had fixtures fixed. The splash park is getting a little bit of an addition. The bathrooms there are being fixed as well, right?
And I have to say, it was a smart way to spend the ARPA funds. I was doing ARPA consulting as well as the sewer thermal energy group. I was also doing a lot of ARPA consulting over the last few years when I was out in private practice, not in town service. And the way it was done here is exactly right. We have an amazing staff. Brian Tarbell, our town engineer, has been project managing a boatload of projects, which means that we're not spending the money on a consulting engineer. That can get very expensive, right, and can reduce the number of projects, can reduce the how far that money goes. So there's a lot more being done here this year still with ARPA
and
funds.
The Public Works Department.
And the Public Works Department
They've been
has
amazing.
been amazing. They really are.
But the thing is that when we looked at it as a council and we brought it to the people and we had like a town meeting, just to explain, it was mainly we looked for areas that we knew we were going to have to fix eventually, and said, let's use it for that. Then we don't have to use our tax dollars towards it.
Which worked out really well for us this year because we were in such a tough place with regard to an increase or potential increase in taxes and wanting to avoid that. We could sort of coast a little bit on the ARPA projects. Our capital budget this year on general revenue, tax revenue, is zero. Yeah. But we've got projects that are being done because we still have ARPA funds that we can expend. We will start a capital project in June. We will begin to plan for a full capital project strategy and schedule starting in June, and come December, the council will get a full description of what we're going to do to start really taking care of potholes, et cetera.
Does that sound familiar, Susan? That's how we used to do business in this town. We actually used to put a 6-year plan together. If you remember correctly, you were on the Board of Selectmen at the time.
We certainly speculated on putting a 6-year, 5-year plan together.
I remember sitting with Barbara McGrath, who was on the Board of Finance at the time, and there was someone from the Board of Ed, and we just we had our engineer with us, and we went through and tried to figure out what do we actually need, when is it going to be needed, and we had this list and where it came, where we were putting it in the list.
Well, yeah, the list of projects certainly, but for the bonding that we get for maintaining things. But when I was on I don't think I was on with you at the same time.
No, we weren't at the same time.
No. But we did talk about it. I actually wanted to put funding away for certain projects that would require bonding, and try and put some money away for big expenditures.
Yeah, that's exactly how it should be done.
Yeah, and I tried to convince people of that, but
it's hard. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to know that you've got money set aside and not tap it for your vacation, or not if you've got savings, you've got to be very disciplined about making sure that it stays where it needs to be so that it's there for you in the future. But we're dedicated, we're committed to that approach. Starting in June, we will start putting a full 6-year capital improvement program in place. Hopefully we'll get approval from that approval for that from the council in December, and that begins our budget process next year.
And that'll be great to have that plan, and people have a direction. And of course, we've always had the plan that we have to do to submit to the state for how we want to see the town, the 10-year plan.
Yep.
And that I'm not sure where we are in that process, but that's always been.
I think they're talking about the fact that they actually have to start the process again. I'm not sure if it's this year or next year. There's been rumblings that it's about time to start it again. The last plan was actually really pretty good. I have to tell you that when I joined the council, I really wasn't sure what I was in. We used to have subcommittees then, and I wasn't sure what I needed to do in some areas. I used that plan for where are we with this? How do we get to this? And it was a good plan.
Well, the plans also help you get funding, right? Just like the sustainability
Well,
stuff
that's
that
right.
you
Yeah.
do helps you get funding. So if you don't have, if it's not in the plan, and you want to write, you want to get some bond money, or want to get
That's
a
right.
grant, then you're going to have a much more difficult time doing that if you don't put all the things you have envisioned in your plan of development for the 10-year period. So, and I haven't looked at it in probably 3 or 4 years, but it's a good thing to take a peek at
I
and see where
actually
we.
carry it with me.
Do you really?
It's in my
Good for you. Yeah.
bag that I take to council meetings and everything else. I look at it a lot. so.
Good. Well, we'll consult with you about where we should be. But
Well, I'm looking forward to them getting started again because
Yeah,
some of the stuff has been done, other stuff is needs to go, and they need to relook at a certain amount of things. Some of the stuff that was in there, the downtown businesses did not want, which was good to find out.
Oh yeah, you
know.
gotta. I'm thrilled that we have businesses downtown, and they work hard.
Oh my God!
and
Did
they're
you try
wonderful.
that new scoops?
Not yet.
Yes,
Oh,
I
boy.
did this week.
Very good. How was it?
It was awesome.
Oh,
It really was
all
awesome.
right. So yeah, but that is a great thing. The Downtown Business Council is wonderful. They meet every month, and they have a wonderful time discussing what they'd like to see in the future. So they're always a big part of the discussion for the 10-year plan. And the Planning and Development Committee usually takes the lead on that. And
We have an
does that
awesome
work.
planning and development
Yeah,
committee. I
yeah,
mean, we've got
very
Paula
good.
Stahl,
Yeah.
who's basically a planner already,
Yes, she
and we
is.
don't have to pay her,
She's free.
which I really like.
Well, I think she just loves to make sure the town is in great shape. I think that's her goal, and we love that. So we're running down to our last few minutes. I'm gonna just say, hey, Dawn, what is your vision for the next few sustainability committee meetings?
Mainly, I just want to get this project off the bat. Rolling
Yep.
and so on, and I would like my subcommittee on energy usage, which is Susan Johnson and Hedley Freak, to come up with some sort of plan on how we're going to move forward. I'm hoping, I put two opposites together, hoping to actually come to some sort of resolution.
Well, we're not. We have the same goal in mind.
They have the same goal, just different ways to get there.
Yes, indeed. And so, and I will be talking about where my geothermal keeps getting tossed between the Environment Committee and the Energy and Technology Committee. I keep working to make sure we have independence with geothermal. Tell me a little bit, Town Manager, about what your vision is for the next few weeks.
So the next big thing for us, we're coming out of the budget season now. Hopefully we'll have a budget in May. Come June, just coming into the change in the fiscal year, we're going to start moving away from cutting and bad news stuff to good news. We're going to start putting together the annual report and describing for the community all of the good things that the town government has been able to do over the course of the last 12 months. I'm looking forward to some good news.
Maybe some more community discussions too. We started it with the footbridge, and I really think that was a really great idea. We just sat around. We had one at the community center where we just sat around a table and just talked about, do you want to fix this footbridge? Do you not? We reached out. That from there came the suggestion for a survey, which is now out there. That's at the town website, so go fill that out, please.
Actually, we've gotten a lot of responses already.
Yeah.
It's really a lot of input. People are really interested in figuring out how to save the bridge.
I like doing those things versus you got 3 minutes to speak to us at a council meeting.
Yeah, well, that's right, and that's why we need to have some coffees and meet and greets with the people. So I just want to thank both of you for being on Let's Talk About It. You got to come back and talk some more. And this is Susan Johnson, and I have to thank Don Niles and our town manager, Rob Zarnetske, for being here on Let's Talk About It. Tune in next week for another great show with Denny Gates.